20. Brannan's Soul Food Kitchen, Birmingham, Alabama. Brannan's was known for its particular interpretation of soul food, influenced by Birmingham's specific regional traditions and the personalities of its owners. Brannan's served food that was hearty and flavorful. The fried chicken was excellent. The vegetables were cooked long and slow. The cornbread was dense and buttery. The restaurant had a homey atmosphere. Families gathered. Elders told stories. Children learned about food and tradition. The restaurant was as much about relationships as it was about food. Brannan's represented the role of soul food restaurants as community institutions beyond just commerce. They were places where culture was transmitted, where relationships were deepened, where community was literally fed and nourished. Leroy and Lewis Barbecue, Houston. Leroy and Lewis was a Houston institution known for barbecue that reflected Texas traditions, specifically the traditions of Texas Black barbecue masters who had largely been left out of mainstream barbecue history. At Leroy and Lewis, the barbecue was made with the specificity of deep Texas knowledge. The brisket was tender and smoky. The ribs were cooked perfectly. The sauce was tangy. The sides were traditional. The restaurant honored the legacy of Black barbecue traditions in Texas that predated and influenced mainstream Texas barbecue culture. Leroy and Lewis challenged the erasure of Black contributions to regional American cuisines. Texas barbecue history often centered white pitmasters, but Black pitmasters had been doing this work for generations. Leroy and Lewis brought their legacy into prominence, creating a space where their contributions were recognized and celebrated. 22. Fat Larry's Grill, various southern cities. Fat Larry's was known for its ribs, massive, fall-off-the-bone ribs that were smoked for hours and prepared with skill and patience. The name itself was friendly and inviting, suggesting generosity and abundance. At Fat Larry's, the ribs were the star. They were cooked until they were tender enough to eat with a fork, but had enough structure to pick up with your hands. The sauce clung to the meat perfectly. The sides, cornbread, collard greens, baked beans, were excellent, but secondary to the ribs. Eating at Fat Larry's was an experience that involved your entire body, getting sauce on your face, your hands, your shirt, and not caring because the food was too good. Fat Larry's celebrated indulgence and pleasure. It said that eating well didn't need to be refined or controlled. You could enjoy food enthusiastically, messily, joyfully. This was a kind of liberation, permission to experience sensory pleasure without apology. The Dinner Bell, Mississippi. The Dinner Bell was a cafeteria-style soul food restaurant where you pointed at what you wanted and servers filled your plate. It was democratic and efficient and beloved. The Dinner Bell served traditional soul food in abundance. Fried chicken, catfish, collard greens, candied yams, cornbread, biscuits, gravy, multiple dessert options. The food was served family style in big bowls and platters. The prices were low. The portions were generous. The atmosphere was casual and communal. The Dinner Bell proved that a simple concept, Good food, affordable prices, generous portions could create a successful and beloved institution. It validated the idea that restaurants didn't need to be fancy or complicated to be excellent and important. 24. Pigfoot Mary's Kitchen, Harlem, New York. Pigfoot Mary's was a Harlem institution known for the traditional foods that had kept enslaved and oppressed people alive and had been transformed into sources of pride and cultural celebration. At Pigfoot Mary's, every part of the animal was honored and prepared with skill. Pig's feet, chitlins, liver, tripe, foods that mainstream America deemed unworthy, were prepared with such skill and care that they became delicacies. The cornbread was perfect, the greens were excellent, the gravy was rich and complex. The experience was one of abundance and celebration. Pigfoot Mary's represented the complete refusal of shame around foods that Black America had created and treasured. These weren't foods to hide or apologize for. They were foods to celebrate and pass down. By centering them in the restaurant, Pigfoot Mary's declared their value and dignity. 25. Crown's Fried Chicken, various locations. Crown's was a chain that expanded throughout multiple cities, proving that Black entrepreneurs could build scalable businesses in the fried chicken market against national competition. Crown served fried chicken that was consistent, quality, and affordable. It wasn't fancy. It was straightforward, good fried chicken served with simple sides. The restaurants were clean and welcoming. The service was friendly. You knew what you were getting, and it was always good. Crown's proved that Black entrepreneurs could compete with national chains and win through consistency, quality, and community connection. While KFC was homogenizing chicken across America, Crown's offered regional alternatives, local ownership, and connection to Black community. It showed that there was space for Black entrepreneurship even in seemingly consolidated markets. These 25 restaurants weren't just places to eat. They were economic anchors for Black communities. They were spaces where Black excellence was on display every single day. They were where Black hands prepared food that nourished Black bodies and Black souls. They were where business was conducted, where relationships were deepened, where culture was transmitted. In the 1970s, at a moment when Black political power was growing, when Black consciousness was rising, these soul food restaurants were declarations of ownership and independence. They said, "We don't need permission to feed ourselves, to feed our community, to succeed in business. We have the knowledge, the skill, the vision, and the determination to build institutions that serve our people and create wealth for our families." The restaurants also preserved traditions that might have been lost. They kept alive the cooking techniques of Southern ancestors. They honored ingredients and preparations that connected eaters to history and heritage. They validated soul food as worthy of respect and celebration, not shame. Some of these restaurants are still operating today, having passed through generations of family ownership. Some have closed, but their memory remains. What's clear is that these restaurants represented something essential about the Black community's response to economic scarcity and systemic exclusion. Not withdrawal or defeat, but creation, excellence and the building of institutions that would outlast their creators and feed generations to come. The 1970s soul food restaurant was where the community fed itself, literally and spiritually. It's where Black America learned that it could create, could excel, could own, could thrive. That lesson echoes forward into today.